I'd like to talk about whether you should be optimistic or a cynic during these current times and these current events. Now, me, I like to be more optimistic, but it's more of a realistic optimism than a just overt optimism. Not saying I'm cynical at all, but I'm way more realistic than the normal person. Let's compare it to the president, so to say. He, at first, well, not at first, but recently, tried to say that he wanted the country to reopen by Easter Sunday or around there. I knew that was never going to work. Now, I know that he probably did that as a message to the markets, saying he's trying as hard as he can to get the country back on track, reopen it, and not to go down anymore. I know what he did, but even to be optimistic like that was a little bit too much in the way of just being out there. But then again, that's something he does all the time. Now he's saying that it's another 30 days of social distancing practices and procedures, but everybody knew that, and I'm surprised people are surprised at that, considering that MLS had their suspension extended to May 10th following the CDC guidelines. If people knew what the CDC guidelines were or what it went to, they would know, oh, another 30 days, actually another 40, 42. Not just another 30. But people got surprised because they don't follow what's going on. Or they're so optimistic that they thought, you know what, maybe that this will work quickly. But it's not. Where's the curve been flattened, so to speak? You can't see it yet. And even then, yeah, most of the new cases are testing, getting caught up on. That is the truth. But there's still other cases being transmitted from person to person when it comes to this virus. And yes, if this is the video that blows up, I don't want it to get demonetized. So I'm just going to say virus and situation. You know exactly what I mean. Okay? Okay. 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 I think everybody knows what's going on. Unless you've been living under a rock for the past, since January. You know what's going on. It's not like, oh, that's happening? Oh, well, that's something new. I didn't know about that. Yeah, it's been happening. If you know, you know. Everybody knows. So, but I do believe that everything will be back by the start of summer. I think it'll start being reopened by then. I think MLS will be back right about when they said they're going to end the suspension. I don't think there will be any additional suspension, maybe to the start of June, but I think the season will be able to start again behind closed doors at least if needed. They're going to need a couple of weeks to get back match fit anyway, so you could just make those matches preseason matches, so to speak, friendlies, and then go on. And then reschedule them, and then, since you're going to have to reschedule 3 matches anyway, why not reschedule like 2 more as preseason friendlies and then have them replayed later in the season as actual regular season matches? Or maybe they'll get back to training at some point and that. But I'm not just here to talk about football, because if I was here to do that, well, I mean, that's what this channel is, but that's not exactly where I was going, per se. I'm just talking about how I feel in general, and why you should feel more optimistic than cynical. It makes it better, a time like this better, should I say. So, why am I optimistic? Because I believe that there's either going to be some sort of lockdown over a month, or people are going to start listening. Now that spring break is over, I have not seen that many people get caught outside partying, so to speak, the like. They know they're being shamed, and I haven't seen it. Around here, Where I live, O'Fallon, St. Louis metro area, damn thing's a ghost town. It is a damn ghost town. Now, people are like, but J.B. Pritzker had a stay-at-home order. You can still go to public parks, okay? There are things that you can still go to and still circumvent that order. It's not like it's a complete lockdown. You can still go to public parks. Like, I could call up 21 of my friends, and play a pickup footy game if I wanted to. They can't stop it. They can't. You can still go to public parks. At least so far. But then, at least right now. I think soon that's going to be cut away. It should be. I'm not saying I would call 21 of my friends to play football. But 21 of my friends to play football, or even 7, 6, 13 of my friends to play 7-a-side, or 9 of my friends to play 5-a-side. No, I'm not saying I would do that. I'm just using that as an example. You could still do that. And yes, people may still be going to other people's houses and stuff. I mean, the problem is it's, for most people my age, it's more asymptomatic. And if you feel like you're fine, you really don't know what's going on. You don't know if you have corona or not. Now, if you feel sick, you definitely shouldn't be visiting people, visiting your significant others, visiting friends. You really shouldn't be doing that. But if you feel like you're fine, I can't stop. Nobody can stop you. Nobody can stop you from visiting your significant other, friends, other people. It happens. Even though it's a stay-at-home order, people are going to want to go out to, you know what. Either getting drunk with some friends or get some, you know what. Have some fun. Wink. I mean, hell, I'm not opposed to it either, but that's whatever. But too much information, I know. Too much information, I know. But it sucks to be alone during a isolation/quarantine. It does. Like, if I had somebody to at least be around and wink, have some fun with, like, woohoo! Like The Sims, you know, like, I'd be a lot happier, because at least I could replace football with something else, but I have nothing right now. And I'm still optimistic. So, because the way I live, I'm just optimistic. I believe in the good of people. I really do. And yes, I've seen people be stupid. I've seen people be out on beaches. But no, people are realizing that this shit is real. And good for you. Stay home. Good for you. Don't be an idiot. Don't be an idiot. If you're gonna want to visit your significant other, if they're healthy and you think you're healthy and you think they're healthy and you ain't showing any symptoms, fine, do it. If you get corona, you somehow get corona. If you don't, yeah, I kind of screwed up, didn't I? Whatever. If you get it, you get it. If you find out, you get it, you get it. If you don't find out, you don't find out. But after you go home, you better self-isolate just in case. Especially if you have old people living at your house. Like, your parents, they may be okay, but I'd still self-isolate just in case if they have, like, underlying conditions and you would know about that. But I'd be a lot more worried, as I said in my last video about this. If my late grandmother passed a year ago was still alive, I'd be a lot more worried and even a lot more careful than I already am. I'm basically careful because I have to be, because nobody has barely talked to me. I don't know if I'm being more careful or this is just the normal, hey, there ain't nothing going on, so you're sitting at home doing nothing type of thing. I mean, I do go out. Before this happened, and I hung out with people. I did. I have friends. It's not like I don't. But I'm an Aquarius, okay? This is normal for us. We have friends, but we also like to be alone. But when we don't want to be alone, we kind of get pissed. But the bad part about times like this is I don't want to be alone, but I kind of have to be alone. You get what I'm saying? You got what I'm saying? So that makes it bad, because it's like, oh, fuck. Like, it's like, oh, no. I don't want to be alone right now. I'm in one of those moods, and I have to be alone. Even though I could just talk to people and be like, hey, you cool with me? Do you want to drop by? You cool with that? Or you want me to drop by? I could do that. But I do have a horrible sleep schedule as well. That probably has something to do with it. But speaking about the coronavirus, I'd be a lot more careful if my late grandmother was still around. Why? Because I mean, she would have been one of the more affected groups. She would have been neurotic about it. She would have been like, every time she coughed, she'd been like, oh, I have the virus. I could just hear it now. I could just hear it now. I could just hear her now. In my head, I could just hear her now. And that's what it would have been like. And every time she coughed, she would have wanted to go to the urgent care ER. I bet. I know this. Because she would have been afraid. Even though she don't even go out much. She would have blamed one of us. But she would have blamed one of us. Even though in this current situation I haven't went out yet. It would have been whatever. Point being is, I probably would have been way more careful than I already am. But since I don't have that reason to worry, because here's the thing. My parents are in their mid to late 40s. I still love them. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to turn this into a, you sound like a jerk thing. I'm not. But when I'm not out, I'm in this room almost all day. I barely come in contact with them. Like, seriously, I barely come in contact with them. I'm 20 and I'm trying to start a YouTube career. Of course, I live in the same house with my parents. What'd you think I did? You think this was mine? Come on. Don't be that stupid. I'm not ashamed to admit it, because I just did admit it. But whatever. I do. But I barely come in contact with them. Even before this, I barely come in contact with them. So, am I really worried? Not really. If I did something, not really. And honestly, after voting, I really don't know. But I think I kind of had a slight symptomatic. I don't think so, but God willing, I didn't. But I was a little bit afraid. And then, I don't know. I probably didn't. It's probably the panic more than it's probably the panic that's like, oh shit, I'm sneezing. Oh, that's a little bit of a dry throat. Oh. And I went to vote that 2 Tuesdays ago. I haven't felt anything besides that, but it's been more like runny nose and sniffles. That's more like a cold. I don't know. But it's probably the panic. Probably like, that could have happened, but they're fine too, so I don't think. Even though I barely come in contact with them, I've come in contact with them a couple of times, but they're fine, so. I probably didn't, but I'm kind of a little bit of a hypochondriac as well. I'm kind of a germaphobe. I really don't. I'll admit it. This is me putting down my guard because I can't talk about football. I'll talk about personal feelings. Yeah, I'm a germaphobe. I'm a hypochondriac. I'll admit it. I don't like not going 30 minutes or an hour without washing my hands. I don't, even when I'm at home, I don't like doing that. I'll admit it. But this is one of the most infectable diseases out there, so everybody's a little bit scared of it. Everybody's a little bit scared of it. And everything's a little bit more heightened because you're like, oh shit, I'm sneezing a lot. Oh shit, I got a little bit of a dry throat. Oh, a scratchy throat. Oh shit, a little bit hot. Everything's a little bit more magnified in this time, Even if everything's a little bit more magnified, and especially when you're a hypochondriac, you're like, every little thing, it's like, did I get it? Did I? Or is it just some allergy shit? Or is it just a cold that ended up happening? Or is it just me feeling like jack shit because I don't sleep well and I don't really eat well either? Probably. I don't know. Probably. I don't know. It could be anything. It could be anything. But as I'm saying, I don't come in contact with him much. So if I wanted to have some fun, I could. But I understand why people are self-isolating. I'm basically doing my part because nobody gives a... I'm not talking to anybody. Nobody's talking to me. Mostly. Because most people around here are doing the right thing. They're listening to the governor. They're listening to Governor Pritzker. They're listening to the warnings. And that's a good thing. If people were being stupid, I'd kind of be scared, honestly. Even though Illinois is one of the hardest hit states, but that's mostly Chicago. But there's like 20 cases in St. Clair County, where I live. Yeah. Not good, but I'm optimistic because I just think that we can come out of this pretty quickly. I don't want to be cynical, because if I'm cynical, I don't know how I would feel. Being optimistic while being in a situation, being isolated like this, not having your main source of your personality to talk about on a weekly basis, and just sitting around doing basically nothing. Yeah, you got cabin fever. You don't like it. Cool. But if this is what we have to do, this is what we have to do. So, to be completely honest, that it is what it is. It is what it is. You see that the thing that's with this situation is we just got to ride it out. We got to sit down. We got to ride it out. We got to be safe, be smart, be vigilant, and stay home mostly. But if you have to go out, be smart, be safe, stay vigilant, cough into your arm. Don't panic buy, and stop buying up all the damn toilet paper. Is that stopped yet? Stop buying it up. Soap, hand sanitizer, I get that. Toilet paper? Are you fucking serious with the toilet paper? Are you fucking serious with the toilet paper? Are you serious with the toilet paper, though? Are you actually serious with the toilet paper, though? That's a little bit too much. You don't need to wipe your arse that much, do you? Don't. Just don't. Okay? Stop that. And be considerate to old people who are shopping. If they're not shopping in the early hour that they open for the old elderly, be considerate to the elderly and, social distance yourself, but don't be a jack-off, okay? Don't, I've seen videos of people fighting old people for toilet paper. Don't be a jack-off, okay? Just don't be a jack-off. It's bad, okay? That's just a fact of life, but right now, especially, don't be a jack-off, alright? But I hope we come out of this quickly. We come out of this on the other side. There's a lot at the end of the tunnel. I see it. Hopefully we're back to football in 6 weeks. And if we're not, hopefully it's just another 2, because I can't handle this for much longer. But one last message. Every healthcare worker out there, if you've watched the whole video, if you've watched this whole video and you're watching this video, thank you. Thank you for what you are doing. And thank you for spending almost half to 3/4 of your day trying to save people's lives who are afflicted by this virus, that are not asymptomatic, mild, moderate, severe cases. Thank you. Thank you for doing what you do. You are heroes by every sense of the word. EMS, first responders, ER workers, hospital workers. You are all heroes. And I respect what you're doing. And I love what you're doing. I respect you. And the first time I see a hospital worker, if I go to Toronto, first time I see an EMS worker after this is over, if I go to Toronto, I'm buying you a beer because I'm 20. I passed 19. I can buy you a beer. In America, on the other hand, after January 20th, if I see a healthcare worker that deserves a beer bought for them, I'll buy you a beer or a drink, whatever you fancy. I'll buy you a damn margarita. I'll buy you a Corona. Okay, I won't buy you a Corona, but that would be kind of funny. It'd be like, oh, I worked hard during the coronavirus to save people's lives. It'd be like a little bit tongue in cheek, like, hey, here's a Corona and lime, you know. I think the time for joking is over. I'll buy you a margarita. I'll buy you a freaking shark bite from like that Joe's Crab Shack shark bite. I'll buy you a freaking Moscow Mule. I don't care. After I turn 21, if I'm shooting the breeze with a healthcare worker from this time after it's over next January, just tell me. I'll buy you whatever you want. If I go to Toronto, same thing, but I could do that now. Well, right after this is over, not like now, but I could have done it last year, you know, because I think the law still applies. I'd be like, I'm 20. I could buy something. I could buy myself a beer, but you know, like, I got you. So, but thank you, y'all heroes. Thank you for what you're doing. I respect it wholeheartedly. I could never do it, but y'all are great. Y'all are great. So, y'all are great. Y'all are great. So, I salute you. Thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, share, subscribe. You know what it is. Tell all your friends that I'll be back tomorrow to talk about why people should accept WrestleMania 36 and stop complaining like the little entitled you-know-whats they are. I'm out. Peace.